welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Chris Hogan, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today as we talk to you about your life and your money. The phone number to do that is 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Julie in Dallas is going to start this hour off. Hi, Julie. How are you?
Hi. How are you?
Great. How can we help?
Well, thank you for taking my call. I just wanted to ask you about paying off debt before investing into retirement while being exempt from Social Security tax. Can I give you a few facts and figures first?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm a stay-at-home mom. My husband's a youth minister with a salary of $40,800. That increases by 2% each year. And because he's a minister, we accepted the option of being exempt from paying into Social Security.
Good.
And instead invest on our own for retirement. Because we live rent-free, as part of the package, we have a parsonage home. That value of the home, $14,400, it has to be added into our income.
Correct.
When we calculate the 15% self-employment tax. So our combined debt is a little over $123,000.
Why would you be paying self-employment tax?
Well, the 15.3% that would be going to Social Security, we don't have to pay self-employment tax.
I know you don't.
That's just the church gives us half of that, and we can invest that on our own into
They just give you half of it. You can do whatever you want to do with it.
Yes. Right. Right. So
okay.
Right
so
now
there's not a self-employment tax.
We're not sure what to do yet. Right.
Yeah. Okay. You just haven't. You have the 7.5 or 765 as income from the church additionally.
Right.
Because you opted out of Social Security. Okay. I'm in.
Yeah. Okay.
That doesn't mean you have to send it there.
No, we don't.
Okay.
We've been saving what they give us and our half until we figure out what to do with it. So our combined debt is a little over $123,000. About $13,000 of that is a car loan, and the rest is student loans.
Goodness.
Yes.
Expensive seminary degree.
Yes. Yeah. So our loans are on income-based payment right now. So all we're required to pay, even though we do try and pay more sometimes, is $127 a month. So obviously not very much.
And you don't work outside the home?
No, I don't.
Why? Hello? I think we lost her.
Well, she didn't like that question.
Might have been.
Yeah.
Might have been a glitch.
Might have been a glitch in the system.
I know.
But I mean, in looking at this, Dave, I mean, in
$40,000 income. Let's go ahead and answer her question in case she hears
$40,000 income with the housing allowance, but they're staring at $13,000 in a car loan and $110,000 in student loan debt.
Right.
You know, it's not time to be investing.
No.
It's time to start chopping.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I think the path you were going, and I was going to say it, she needs to get plugged into some type of job or side gig to help chop this debt down faster.
And he does too.
Yeah.
They're going to have to pick up extra income because the problem is a shovel-hole ratio. That's what you were saying.
That's right.
How much hole they're in is $100 and something thousand versus a $40,000 income. So I gotta get the income up so that the debt is not a death sentence.
That's right.
It doesn't ride you all the way into the grave.
Right.
And you've got to be able to attack it. And so if you got your income up $20,000, you'd be done in 5 years.
Yeah.
If you put all that on there. If you got your income up more, you'd be out faster. So I think you should be out of debt in 3 to 5 years, 100% debt free.
Yeah.
And then and only then would you build your emergency fund, baby step 3, and then you start saving 15%.
Right. Is it wise for pastors to do this?
Yes. It's a conscientious objection. The IRS form says I have to object to the, if you're a pastor, your pastoral income only, not your side gig income, but only your pastoral income, ministerial income. If you conscientiously object to, on a religious basis, the Social Security system, then you cannot pay into it and not receive from it. Now, what does Social Security do for us? Well, it's a horrible savings plan. It's absolutely horrendous. Has a negative rate of return.
Right.
You don't even get back what you put into it.
That's right.
So from an investment standpoint, you could invest it in a fruit jar and come off better. Okay, but you need to do some investing, which is her fear.
Right.
But we're still going to work the baby steps. They got plenty of time to get to investing. And it also covers disability. In the event you become disabled, you get SSI. And in the event of the death of one of the parents, the children would get benefits. And none of that occurs if you opt out. Now, then the question has always come up for our friends in the Christian community, because since we're believers and we're always in that community, they're always asking, well, should we opt out? I said, yes, mathematically, financially, as long as you're going to buy disability insurance, life insurance, and do your retirement, you're going to come out much better off, millions of dollars better off.
Right.
I wish I could opt out.
Right.
Matter of fact, they could keep everything I paid in so far if they just wouldn't take any more. Yeah. That's how bad it is. It's just bad.
It is bad math.
And so, it's awful.
So if you had worked, let's say he had worked.
It's the DMV managing your retirement plan. That's what Social Security is.
If he had worked a job for 4 or 5 years, paid into Social Security, then became a pastor, and he opts out, he would get Social Security based on what he paid in. Okay. All right.
Yeah. But not, and if you work a side hustle, it's a non-ministerial. You cannot opt out except on the religious income, ministerial income.
Okay.
And I advise pastors to opt out as long as they're going to do those three things.
That's right.
Long-term disability, life insurance, and save for retirement. Which, by the way, we're teaching them to do anyway.
That's right. That's right.
And it's just light years better off. Now, can I, in good conscience, be a conscientious objector on a religious basis if I'm in their shoes? In an instant. Because the Bible says to be a good manager, to be a good steward, to manage the assets that God has allowed you to manage well. Sending any of it to the government to mismanage does not qualify as being a good manager.
No, you're right.
So on a religious basis, I instantaneously can object to it.
Okay.
Now, I don't get to because I don't have a ministerial income.
Right.
But if you're a pastor out there, that's the basis for it. And you have to do it right at the start of your pastoral career.
Okay.
And so it's a one-page thing, and you're from a matter of integrity, you are signing up, not because you don't like the math, but you're signing up to say, well, on a religious basis, I object.
Okay.
And I can do that. I can show you how. I mean, I as a Christian, I object.
Right.
But I don't get to.
You don't get to opt out. Okay. That's interesting.
And you don't either, by the way.
Right.
Mar is with us. Mar's in Cleveland, Ohio. We're going to come back to Mar after the break because we discussed that whole concept all the way into the break, which is perfect because, hey, people wonder what this is.
Know. Yeah.
And your parsonage is taxable income. So that's why they're allocating a portion of it to that. So
still got to work the steps, though. Still got to work the plan.
Yep.
You're going to get out of it what you put into it.
Only way it works. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.
Cliff and I joined Christian Healthcare Ministries because we really liked the concept of Christians sharing each other's burdens. And we really experienced that firsthand when Cliff was diagnosed with heart disease. It was just such a relief to know that financial burden was going to be taken care of.
CHM is the original and longest-serving health cost-sharing ministry. Get started today and check us out at chministries.org.
Welcome back to the Dave Ramsey Show. Common sense to for your dollars and cents. Chris Hogan, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host. Open phones at 888-825-5225. The Chris Hogan Show is available on YouTube, Apple, Google Podcasts, SiriusXM. It's a podcast. It's a YouTube show. It's everywhere. And you can always listen to Chris. And focus, not finish, baby. That's the saying over there. So be sure you jump in and check that out. Phone number again here, 888-825-5225. As promised, Mar is in Cleveland, Ohio. Hey, Mar, how are you?
Hi, Dave. Hi, Chris. How you doing?
Great, man. What's up?
Hey, so my wife and I are on baby step 2. We have $15,000 left on our car. So my question is, after we get our emergency fund done, our car should be paid off this year. After we get our emergency fund done, so we continue to pause on our baby steps and not start my son's college fund and just pay off our house. We owe $110,000. Last year, I made over $90,000 gross income. $68,000 was brought home. So I was thinking if we were to pay $2,000 a month extra to our principal, which would be $24,000 a year. Our house can be paid off in 3.5 years.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that?
Well, when you finish baby step 3 and you've got your emergency fund in place and you're debt-free, then you move on to 4, 5, and 6.
That's right.
And they're simultaneous.
That's exactly right. And so, Mar, you will have up to then done things one at a time. But getting to that fully funded emergency fund, doing 4, 5, and 6, you're going to be investing 15%, saving some for college, and paying extra to the house. So
now, if that means it's instead of 2,000, if that means it's 1,700,
that's okay.
Then that's fine.
Yeah, but here's what you're not counting, Mar. Your income should be increasing. So that in itself should give you the opportunity to pay off that house faster, buddy. How old are you?
I'm 31 and my wife is 29.
And how old are your kids?
My son, we only have one, and he's 3 years old.
Okay. You sound focused, man. And I'm going to tell you this. You will find the extra money to pay off that house. Mm-hmm. I have no doubt in my mind. But at the same time, you're making progress in these other areas. So don't avoid doing one thing so you can focus all in another. Make progress in it all.
So I'm okay. Baby step 5, save for kids' college. We're okay if you're doing anything there. I just want you to start building that muscle. If you just set up an account to do $100 a month, $50 a month, whatever, it doesn't have to be a lot, but let's get started on it to kind of get the rhythm in your brain and in your household and in your spirit that we're saving for college, we're saving for college, we're saving for college, and then everything else we're going to start dumping on 6. We're going to get the house paid off as quickly as we can. Now, you said you brought home 58 out of 90. Where's all that money going? You're not having taxes.
68. I brought home 68.
Oh, 68.
Yeah.
Okay, that's much better. That's much closer. All right, good. Well, I agree with Chris. I think you're doing great.
I do too. I really do. And I think, being laser focused on that. But Dave, people oftentimes don't account for either income increasing or finding other ways to bring in extra money. You can still make progress.
Well, what ends up happening for real is you do get raises periodically. You get bonuses. And then other money is just found money comes across our life. It always does in our lives. I mean, you might get a little small inheritance, a little $5,000 inheritance or something. Right. You might get a $20,000 or something. A bonus. You may find something. You may find a gold rock in your backyard and sell it. I don't know. I mean, there's little stuff happens, and as long as all the little stuff above 15% going to retirement, above whatever you're doing for college is all going on 6. Then you accelerate the process. And I would rather you do 4 and 5 and paying off your home take 4 years or 4.5 years instead of 3.5 years, and not be doing any 4 and 5.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And that's the clarification he's looking for. Good job, man. Well done. Good Stella is in Dallas. Hey, Stella, how are you?
Just fine, thank you. Thanks for taking my call today.
Sure. What's up?
I'm on baby step number 7. I'm single, 45 years old. I maximize my 401k and Roth IRA contributions annually.
Great.
When should I make a conversion from my 401k at work to Roth 401k?
How old are you again?
I'm trying to be laser focused on my saving 45. I'm 45.
Now?
Yes, sir.
Now, when you how much is in your 401k today?
About $840,000.
Oh, way to go,
Stella!
Millionaire Stella.
Stella's on the ball.
All right. Now, wait a minute. I got to back up then, because you're going to create taxes on whatever you roll, right? Do you
Correct,
have other
but I'm on baby
cash?
step 7.
Do you have other? I know, but do you have other cash?
I do.
How much?
I have about $100,000 on my savings account.
Okay. So I don't want to flip it all, and you have to use some of that money, cashing it out early to pay taxes, and that's what would happen.
Correct.
Because you're going to have a couple $100,000 in taxes. So I'm going to move.
Right.
I'm going to move as much as I can pay the taxes without touching it. So let's call that $400,000, and you use the $100,000 to pay your taxes, or whatever it works out, right? Something like that.
My tax bracket is about 32% this last year.
Okay. Then you can back into it and say, based on that, I've got, and you got 100, but you have an emergency fund in addition to that 100?
No.
Okay. So
Well,
you
I
need,
have non-retirement investment accounts that I could liquidate.
Oh, how much
if
is
I
that?
needed. About $800,000.
okay, then let's do it all now.
Mm-hmm.
And let's use some of your cash and some of your non-retirement investments to pay the taxes. Because effectively what that does, mathematically, is as if you have just invested another $250,000 into your Roth IRA.
Yep.
Because the Roth's going to grow 100% tax-free from here on out. See, so you freed
Right.
all of that up. Now, I'm assuming, since you're such a freaking rock star here, that this money is invested in good mutual funds and you're getting good rates of return, right?
Yes, sir.
You're killing
Yes,
it.
sir.
Stella,
What
you're
do
on
you
the ball.
make?
Thank you.
How much do you make?
Oh, I'm sorry. About $200,000.
How did you learn how to do all this? You are really good.
I'm focused but not finished, sir.
Stella, you're just making me feel good today. I'm telling you.
He just turned into one big goosebump.
Seriously,
over
I
here.
really did. No, but seriously, where did you learn? Did your parents teach you, or are you self-taught?
Pretty much self-taught, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Are you really?
Pretty much
Well, you
self-taught.
have done a wonderful, wonderful job.
You really have. Now,
45 years old, $2 million.
Yeah, and this $100,000 you have in your savings, Stella, leave 30 in there as your emergency fund.
Yeah.
Just so you keep that cushion. But girl, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you. And you know what? That high definition dream you've been chasing, I hope you're living. I hope you're having fun, knowing that you're on the path to be a blessing to people and giving, but also living and enjoying some stuff.
Way to go.
Yes.
Well done. Well done. Rock star. Trevor's in Cleveland, Ohio. Hey, Trevor, how are you?
Good, Dave, Chris. Thank you guys for taking my call.
Sure. How can we help?
Yeah, Dave, I've got a business started here, and my lease payment's coming up on my truck for my landscaping business, and I was really honestly not sure of where I want to go this summer when the leasing payment comes up, whether I want to just buy the truck outright and keep it with my business, or maybe try and find something else. I'm kind of in a predicament there, so I was going to see if you can kind of help me out with that. And where
Well,
I
just
should go.
pretend like you didn't own it. Would you buy it?
Yes.
Okay. And would you buy it for that price?
Not knowing what the price is kind of
Well, there's
where
a
I'm at
stated
on it.
price on a closed-end lease at the end of the lease that you can buy it for.
Right. Yeah, I would probably end up buying it, but I also had the alternative of maybe going and getting something cheaper.
I know.
And I'm really not sure. I'm on about baby step number 3.
So what is the truck? The trick is, what's the buyout number, and then look the truck up and see what the truck is worth. Don't pay more for it than it's worth just because you're leasing it. But if you can buy it $2,000 under what it's worth and you can pay cash for it, then let's go ahead and buy it if it fits in your plan. And if you want to move cheaper, then just turn it back in. Give them the keys. Go, bye-bye.
Just don't go higher.
Yeah, there's no reason to go up.
And don't do another lease.
For God's sake.
Yeah, you've earned your way out of this thing, so quit it.
Yeah.
Stop that.
Fleeces are a bad idea. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Folks, it's an honor to tell you about the Army National Guard. Not only are they big supporters of our high school curriculum, but they also give you the opportunity to impact your local communities. Whether your goals are to get an education, serve your country, or have a better life, the Army National Guard can help get you there. Plus, they offer unbelievable financial benefits. Secure your future today. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Chris Hogan, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Julia is in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Hi, Julia. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So I am an 18-year-old. I'm a first-year college student. I have a $14,000 car loan. I only got it because I needed it for school. I got it right before the pandemic hit and for work as well. I'm able to pay for it. So the loan is me and my mom co-signed it. So but I pay for it.
Oh, no.
But my question is, I just finished baby step number 1, which is, save up that $1,000. I'm trying to get out of baby step number 2, which is pay off all my debt, which as of right now is just my car loan. But my main question is, my mom is in a lot of debt as well. How can I help her get out of her debt, but not only help her get out of debt, but how can I help her listen to your steps and so that we can become financially free together, work together?
Boy, I love your heart. I tell you, I love your heart. I really do. And, unfortunately, what she's done is she shared her taste of debt with you. And, I'm going to tell you, one of the strongest things you could do, Julia, would be to get intentional and look at getting this car sold and get it out of your life. And then you saving up and paying cash for a car and talking to your mom about how that debt's not helping. And I think you living it is going to be one of the best ways. But, you can talk with her and you can try to plant the seed, but you can't make her. And Dave and I have found this out after many, many years of until someone decides they're ready, they're not ready.
Yeah. And so, you living it in front of her. And you've got the powdered butt syndrome. Once someone's powdered your butt, they don't care about what your opinion is about money, sex, stuff like that. So mom doesn't, she's not going to listen to you that much. I mean, the only thing you can always do with anybody is not to wag your finger at them and say, you need to listen to this podcast because you're stupid with money, because you could do better, mom, and don't wag your finger that way. Instead, just talk about yourself. Because your story is not debatable. I feel so much better now that I'm on a plan and I got a budget. I feel so much better now that I'm getting this car paid off or getting rid of this car. I feel so much better now that, and man, if I could ever help you, if you want me to share with you what I'm doing, that's fine. And so, you ever had a friend, Julia, that lost a bunch of weight?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Yeah. They inspire you, don't they?
Right.
Without coming over to you and saying, you need to take better care of yourself. They just take better care of themselves right in front of you. Yeah. And then you go, well, how'd you do that?
That's right.
What'd you do? I've had a lot of those discussions. I lost 37 pounds since the pandemic, and so I needed to because I was just straight up fat. And so, but all my buddies are like, what'd you do? It's the same thing. And I didn't go around and say, you need to be doing this, and didn't look at my buddy and go, hey, you got one of those things hanging on the front of you like I do. So I didn't do that. I didn't shame anybody else, right? I just said, that belly there is, I didn't talk about his belly. I didn't pick on him, but I just, my clothes just fit again, that kind of stuff.
Well, and you're right, Dave. Her doing it herself, and I'm going to tell you, at 18 years old,
man, that's impressive.
For her to have the presence of mind to reach out to call in is a big deal. I wasn't thinking like that at 18 years old. And so, Julia, live the principles, young lady. Live them and be intentional for yourself. And please, please, please don't take on student loan debt. You said you got that car loan. I want you to sell that, get that out of your life. Go to school part-time if you have to while you work, but avoid student loan debt. Don't add it to your plate.
Yeah, well done. Michael is with us. Michael's in Alexandria, Virginia. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Good. How you doing, guys? So my wife and I are planning on paying off our house in about a year.
Great.
So I'm looking ahead, and I'm wondering, after we do that, and I would put the 15% into retirement. What I'm looking to do is, what should we do with the additional money we'll have to invest? Would you suggest maxing out all retirement avenues possible prior to like a regular brokerage?
What would you use a brokerage account for?
I'm thinking more of just like low-cost index funds that have a little more accessibility.
Okay. I mean, you can do that. But if you get with a SmartVestor Pro, they can help you lay that out. But, yeah, you max out all the retirement.
All of it.
All of it. And then if you want to just open some, I do that. I've got some S&P 500 funds that are no loads. And I store up money in that till I get ready to buy something else with it. Usually a piece of real estate is what I'll use it for, because that's the two things I invest in. And but that's the beauty of it. The other thing you'll find is if you've got that sitting there and you said it's accessible, that's a good word, liquid, then if something comes along and you feel prompted by God to be really generous to something, and you may write some sizable checks out of that investment account just to be a blessing at some point too. That's the other thing we have used ours for.
Absolutely. And Michael, I tell you, I'm going to ask to get your info. I'm going to send you my book, Everyday Millionaires. Kelly will get your information and send that to you, because also in that book, I talk about the bridge account. And so this is where you would start to using growth stock mutual funds outside of retirement to allow you to kind of continue to save as well.
Yeah, and you got what you're doing is building up money that you can utilize before 59 and a half.
That's exactly right.
You're bridging from where you are now until 59 and a half, because you can't touch the retirement stuff without penalties prior to that. So that's a good suggestion. Kent is with us in Kansas City. Hey, Kent, welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. If I could provide you with some dollar figures, could you help me estimate the value of my small business I'm about ready to sell?
I'll give it a shot.
It's a small service business. I'm the boss. I'm the only employee. I drive around and distribute printed materials like magazines, brochures, and I put on about 23,000 to 24,000 miles a year. So gas expenses are my main expense. The average, I started it in 2013, and so the average total amount of income for about the past 7 years is about $41,000. So it's a low of about $38,500 to a high of about $49,500.
Now that's the gross revenue. That's not before expenses. That is before expenses, not after.
Yeah, that's the gross total revenue, not with it. Now, when I figure it with the tax stuff, is different from what all the deductions, and they have depreciation, and they take off for my home office use and for using my garage as a business purpose and stuff like that. But so then what I figure for my gas expenses and stuff like that is a little bit different. But do you need to have what the total average?
Yeah, what was your taxable income?
That averaged past 6-7 years about 18,000.
Yeah, I was going to say 20. That was going to be my guess. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. Some of those categories are what we call ghost categories for purposes of valuation, and some of them are real expenses that the tax thing is just allowing you to admit. Now, your home office is a ghost expense because you're not really, you don't own that as an office. It's just you're taking the depreciation on that, which is going to cause a problem when you sell the house, by the way. But anyway, so some of those things are real expenses and some of them aren't. All of them are not ghost expenses. So it sounds like you have an income of around $30,000. And so there's two ways to look at this. Number one, most of the time on a service business, we say, all right, do you have a series of clients? Is it a client list?
Yeah, the customer base, that's what generates. I mean,
that's the value. That's where the value is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. So I think you could probably sell that for about one time. Roughly one time. If you could sell it for $50,000, I'd take it. Because generally speaking, someone else can just go generate their own customers, and that's what you're competing with. But generally speaking, you take the net profit of a business times 4, but that would be after you paid all the employees, and we've not paid you out of this yet to do the work. By the time we pay you, there's not going to be money left. So I'm probably just going to try to sell the list as a value rather than the business as a value. Guys, we're working on a new podcast, a special, and we're looking for some stories from you. If you've had a bad experience with this, buy now, pay later. Promises flexible payment options. You've probably seen these options when you're buying something online, like a new pair of jeans. You reach the checkout page, and you can buy them for $3 a month, that kind of stuff. If you got caught in an installment payment program, ended up costing you way more than you expected for the item, we want to hear from you. Buy now, pay later. Email us if you've got some stories. Your story could help a lot of people. Email us at daveonair@ramseysolutions.com. Put in the subject line, buy now, pay later. daveonair@ramseysolutions.com. Buy now, pay later. Tell us a little bit about your story, and our team will get back with you as we're producing that new podcast. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Scott is in Washington, D.C. Hey, Scott, welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks. Thanks for having me. My wife and I are avid listeners, and thanks for your advice.
Thanks. How can we help?
Yeah, so we're 29. We're debt-free and done with baby step 4, but no babies yet, and no house yet either. We've got a healthy emergency fund, over 12 months of expenses. Right now we're maxing out both of our 401ks at $19,500 a year, but we're over the limit for Roth IRA and over the tax advantage salary limit for traditional. So I was planning on, now that we have a time horizon of about 3 to 5 years on both kids and a house, planning on dumping about $2,000 per month in the mutual fund for the next 3-ish years. Do you think that's a good plan, or should I park that money elsewhere?
That'd be fine. I mean, if you dump it into just a no-load, again, like we were saying a minute ago, a no-load S&P 500. Now, you can do a backdoor Roth.
Yep.
I do one, and my income's more, way over the limit. And the backdoor Roth, as a matter of fact, I just finished mine the other day, is you open an after-tax traditional, not a before-tax traditional, and instantaneously roll it to a Roth. And that's a loophole in the law that allows you to do that. And regardless of your income, you can do a Roth. So you can pop $6,000 a piece, you and your wife, into that if you want to, in addition to maxing out your 401k at the full, which you're doing. And then above that, you're just saving towards a house, it sounds like, right?
Right, yeah. And so
you're a little thick on your emergency fund, too. I wouldn't be at 12 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so Scott, one option you could do is you could take 6 months of that emergency fund and lump that over, and leave it in the emergency fund, but let's call that home down payment.
Okay.
That's a starter for that.
It's a starter for that anyway.
And if you don't have the money to fund those 2 backdoor Roths right now, you can use some of that out for that as well.
Right.
Yeah, just get in touch with the SmartVestor Pro. Tell them backdoor Roth IRA. They can tell you how to do it. But the limits on Roth IRA, folks, are $200,000 household income. If you make over that, you technically do not qualify. But there's a workaround, and that's what I just said.
That's right.
And it's perfectly moral, perfectly legal. So, again, I've done one every year for as long as there's been Roth IRAs. So just to get more money in there, it's not going to, that one thing is not going to make you wealthy. But if you keep doing a whole lot of those one things, you'll end up with more than one thing.
That's right. Every little bit counts. And seriously, go to DaveRamsey.com. You can reach out to a SmartVestor Pro where you can sit down. You don't have to try to explain that to your spouse, right? Just set up the appointment. Go sit down with a SmartVestor Pro.
With your spouse.
With your spouse, yes, both of you. Even if you got to do it on Zoom, doesn't matter. These guys and gals are fantastic. They'll be able to explain it, lay it out for you, and you can feel confident in what you're doing.
There you go. Jeff is with us. Jeff's in Knoxville. Hi, Jeff. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Chris. Appreciate all you guys do.
Sure. You too. What's up?
I got a question. You're always giving recommendations for purchasing a house, but I own land outright. We're debt-free.
Good.
We're saving up to build a house.
Good.
So I was wondering, what's your recommendation? Do I need to save up the complete 20% for the cost of the build, or is it okay to actually use the land as my 20% collateral for the build?
Well, we're not hardcore on a first home or on the 20%. The biggest thing about the 20% down is it avoids PMI.
Mm-hmm.
You don't pay the private mortgage insurance, which is like $75 a month per 100,000. And so it's a lot of money for PMI. And if you can put the 20% down, that's very helpful. And yes, in the calculation for your permanent mortgage, the land is part of the valuation. And so if you are in the property by the time you get it built with the paid-for land, plus the build, if the total loan-to-value ratio is 80% or below, you've avoided PMI with a conventional mortgage, and a Fannie Mae, which is the only kind you'd want to do. The others are, the FHA and VA are more expensive and don't do those. But you can avoid the PMI if you do that. And then as far as the other percentage we use, it still applies. When you end up with a permanent mortgage, you don't want it to be more than a fourth of your income.
That's right. Yeah.
On a 15-year fix.
15-year fix. And so, Jeff, here's the deal, buddy. You're just going to have to go into it. You got to plan for, and Dave, I'm interested to hear this because you've built more times than me, but you got to plan for overruns, like the construction. The cost things. I mean, it's going to always cost a little bit more than you plan on. And so having that regularly scheduled meeting with your builder, staying on top of it, it becomes a full-time job.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a job for sure. You're right. And we have learned building houses, you are a nightmare to your builder if you make it up as you go. 40,000 change orders, right?
Yes.
And so the lady, a country music star, not to be named, was living across the street from me in the house I currently live in. We were both building at the same time, and she paid almost double by the time she finished for the same square footage as I've got. But I had 2 change orders, and she had 240. And they mark every change order up, and every change order means something has to be changed that's already done. So that means you've done the work twice.
Right.
So the first thing you do is you build it on paper over and over and over again. That's called a blueprint. And you spend a lot of time going over it and going over it and going over the blueprint, getting everything just right. And to the point that it's like a budget. You're promising yourself you're going to stick to that piece of paper. Because everything you change on it as it goes up is going to be expensive. So it's a lot cheaper to build it on paper.
Okay.
And then you lay out a schedule with the builder. And I don't mean a completion date. I mean when the foundation is going to be poured.
Phases.
When the things are going, when the framing package is going in, when the kitchen cabinets are going to be installed. I want to see dates.
Okay.
And then we can tell if we're on schedule or not.
That's right.
If we have a rain delay, some wet weather in the winter in some of your areas, then, you can tell we're off by 2 weeks. We're building a 200,000 square foot, $40 million building next door. It's exactly the same thing we've done. Line item on the blueprints are unbelievably detailed, as you might imagine.
Can't even.
And the schedule is unbelievably detailed, and we can tell if we're 1 day off schedule on that project, on a $40 million project. And you do that with the house too. And so you have a budget, you have a schedule, and you have a blueprint. And the budget is line itemed as well. You go, this is how much we've got set out for kitchen cabinets, and if you pick kitchen cabinets $2,000 over that, expect that to be $2,000 more because you just changed the game.
That's right.
As to what you started with. And so it's a project with a lot of details.
Right.
And if you'll manage to the budget, to the schedule, and to the blueprint, that's how you manage the project, and you'll have a good experience, and your builder will actually like you. But because people just make up crap as they go along.
And then get mad at the builder.
Yeah. It took 6 months longer to build it. Well, you changed 46 things.
Right.
You didn't go down and pick out your light fixtures till 4 weeks after you were supposed to, and then they didn't come in.
Right.
And so the customer is the problem. most of the time.
Gotcha.
Or sometimes a builder's just building something out of his ear. Everything's on the hood of the truck, and he ain't got any dadgum plans. It's just horrible. And so you've got to not be jackleg as a customer or as a builder.
Right.
But if you'll get a professional contractor that knows their stuff and puts out those 3 pieces of paper, you spend a lot of time on those before you break ground. You'll have an enjoyable building a house is fun then. Because you get the creation. I mean, we're having fun building this big old building next door. It's fun.
Right.
There's lots of tractors and trucks and stuff over there. Boys, I like it, man. It's fun. Lots of things over there making noise. It's a blast.
There you go, people. You just got info on how to build a house the Dave Ramsey way.
Well, it's just managing a project. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where dad is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Chris Hogan, Ramsey personality and #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Tom is with us to start us off in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Hey, Tom, welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. Hey, Chris. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Hey, so my wife and I are about to close on our second home. We're about 25. I'm 25. She's 26. We have enough between cash and investments to pay for the whole home in cash. The problem is a lot of it is in investments, and a lot of it, about half of it, was put in around April. And so we're looking at paying potentially short-term or long-term capital gains in a couple months if we were to take it out. And we're kind of just like, it's gotten to a large number, and the amount of money that, I could be potentially making year over year, just, in steady growth, being in good mutual funds, I'm weary about taking that large of amount of money out and not just continuing to let it grow, and especially since the mortgage rate is so low.
Now, Tom, how much money were you talking about? You're saying a large amount. Give us some specifics.
So I got about $160,000 in cash, and I have about $430,000 in investments.
And what's the basis on that $430,000?
What do you mean?
What'd you pay for it?
So I have about $245,000 in actual cash that was put in.
No. That's what you put in to make $400,000?
Yeah.
So you got a $200,000 gain in 9 months.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so, you're going to pay ordinary income on that, so that's going to be pretty heavy. It'll be pretty hefty. All right. So that's question one. And then the overarching question is, do I pay $600,000 for a house and pay cash because mortgage rates are low?
Yeah, it's $535,000 is the home cost, and so my thought is we're both maxing out our 401ks. We make just a little over $200,000 a year, and we could just divert roughly $60,000 a year for the next 6 years or so, or after the 20% down, 6-7 years, and just do it that way rather than, emptying all of our investments and stuff and, paying cash. It's the only debt we would have. We have
let's pan back just a little bit, because there's 2 or 3 different answers, and it's the nuances of it. Okay. Number one, where do we want to end up 10 years from now? Let's pan back that far. 100% of the time, all of the data that we find, 100% of the time you're going to want to be debt free.
Right.
10 years from today. Okay, or 7 years from today, or as you said, 6 years from today. All right, so the long-term goal is debt-free. Now, why is that? Well, it adds stabilization to your overall life, and that you own your home. There's no threats when there's a pandemic that something turns upside down on your wonderful careers that you have, and all of a sudden this house is in jeopardy, and everything's in jeopardy, and there's a lot of stress. So if you're the third pig that built his house on the brick, with the big bad wolf comes along and the brick is paid for, you got no issue.
That's right.
So that's where we want to end up. And we know from all our data that the millionaires want to do that. And we know the borrower really is slave to the lender. That's not a dadgum joke.
Right.
And so that's where we want to end up. So in light of that, I figured out I don't borrow money ever for anything. And so I would be looking at a delayed closing on this to get me past the capital gains date. So I wouldn't close on this property until April. And I'd actually pay them a little extra to do that if it's me, because I'm going to pay 100% cash 100% of the time. Now, the one thing we don't yell at people for is taking out a mortgage if they can pay it off rather quickly, or as quickly as possible. And so we wouldn't yell at you if you took out a short-term bank loan and paid it off within a year to avoid to make that a long-term capital gain instead of an ordinary gain, which is going to cut your tax bill in half. That's a $30,000 or a $40,000 play in this scenario.
Right.
Tax savings only. Now, am I going to keep you in debt on your house because of low mortgage rates in order to invest more? Absolutely not. As a philosophy. Absolutely not. So that's not where I want you to be long term. It's not where I want you to be as soon as you can get there. So there's 2 or 3 things playing in this, but the capital gains thing and the April date and you take a ordinary income on a $200,000 gain or $250,000 gain versus a 15%. Which is what you'd be on your long-term capital after 1 year, I'm probably going to want you to mess with that. I can't, because I have vowed before God I will never borrow money again for any reason, because I truly believe the stuff we teach. So if I were in your shoes and I'm sweating that capital gain, I'm going to just do a delayed closing in order to avoid it and get it past that 1 year mark and come out of there. But Tom, you're really kind of asking 2 questions. The capital gains thing and the gains that you've had this year have made you a little greedy because you had an unrealistically good year on the stock market. It is unrealistic. It was a wonderful year.
Oh, it was.
Especially when you bought at the bottom.
That's right. Absolutely.
You bought right at the bottom.
And Tom, I'm going to tell you this. 25 and 26 years old, calling in with this kind of question and the path you all are on, you've got the habit of saving. You've got the habit of being intentional. Please, please, please continue to grow that skill. Do not backslide. And I know that because having been 25 and 26, stupid comes around and it's shiny. And it's real easy, if you're not clear on what it is you want, to make some bad decisions. So very proud of the progress you're making. Take your time, look at this, and it's okay to delay some gratification because it's going to feel a whole lot better later when you walk in that home and it's all yours.
Yeah. The number of times I couldn't do something because I didn't have the money right then. And so because I refuse to borrow money, because I truly believe the borrower is slave to the lender, I really am a legalist. I really am a fanatic. I really don't borrow money for anything. But the number of times I couldn't do something, so I didn't, because I couldn't figure out a way to do it. I couldn't scheme it. I couldn't scam it. I end up with a better deal. Like, let's say he said, okay, I can't do this if I'm not going to do a delayed closing because I'm unwilling to pay the capital gains and I'm unwilling to borrow money.
Right.
Okay. And so we're going and then the seller says, no, won't do a delayed closing. You lose the deal.
Yeah.
You know what you end up with? Better house later. Every time you get an upgrade.
Wow.
God's always standing there with an upgrade the other side of you making the right decision.
And that's not what our mind tells us, Dave.
No, it's our mind. We have a scarcity mentality.
That if you don't do this, you're never, ever going to be able to do it.
The number of times I've walked away with a deal, and when I walk around the corner, there's a better one waiting because I walked away from the deal for the right reasons.
Wow.
Sticking to the principles. I'm going to dance with the girl that brought me.
That's right.
I mean, this debt-free thing, it brought me here.
It's real.
This, investing thing, it brought me here. This outrageous generosity thing, it brought me here. And I don't care if there's another pretty girl at the party. Those are the ones that I came with. That's the girl I came with. I'm dancing with her. That's it. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices. And they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings. Hogan, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host today. Our question today comes from Blinds.com. They have a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Means that even if you mismeasure, you pick the wrong color, they will remake your window blinds for free. You get free samples, free shipping. And with the new promos they run every month, you'll save even more. Use the promo code Ramsey to get the best possible deal.
All right, Dave, today's question comes from Crosby in Idaho. He says, why do you recommend only 15% of your household income to be invested? If I can do more, should I? So looking at this, Crosby, I would take a stab at this, Dave. You get 15%. What you're wanting to do is to get started and allow compound interest to start moving for you. However, you're still going to be doing some other things. For example, we invested baby step 4, 15%. You're still going to be saving for college, and you're going to be attack and pay off the house. Now, Crosby, once you attack and pay off the house, you definitely can invest more than 15% because you freed up that income, that payment from going to the mortgage.
Yeah, it only applies until the home's paid for.
That's right.
And once your home is paid off, then you've got a lot more cash flow and you can do other stuff.
Wide open spaces.
So obviously you could do 12% and put more towards the mortgage. Mm-hmm. You could do 17% and put less towards the mortgage. So why 15%? Is it magical? No.
Right.
It's not magical. It's not a magic number. But we did, when we were designing the baby steps, we learned the baby steps from working with people over the years. We finally said, we first used to tell people, just stop doing everything and get out of debt. And then we developed, people kept having, the tire would blow out, the alternator would go out on their car, the kid would get sick, and it's $200 at the pediatrician. And they didn't have any money because they paid it all on the debt.
Right.
So then baby step 1 was born. So before you get out of debt, have $1,000. So you got a little starter cushion. So it was born. These steps evolved.
Right.
We didn't just make them up in a room.
Right.
They evolved in 30 years of coaching and counseling people. So once we got out of debt and got the emergency fund in place, then we said, okay, what number in the budget, with the average household income is $59,000 in America, but if you're making $32,000, the number still works. And if you're making $232,000, the number still works. What percentage allows you to have money left beyond that percentage? That's a big, healthy percentage.
Right.
But beyond that, you'd have money left for college savings, and beyond that, money left to begin to pay off your home earlier. And we played with 10%, 12%, 17%, because we have people that are super savers and they would put 28% in.
Right.
And then we have people that go, I only want to put 3% in because I want to pay off my house.
Right.
And we knew neither one of those were right, because you need to have a good, healthy amount going in, but not so much that you don't have any left to flow over the edge of the cup over into the other two baby steps. And so we ran case study scenarios off of real people that we had met with, all these tens of thousands, now today hundreds of thousands of budgets that we have done at Ramsey. And the 15% just works. It works at almost any number. Now, again, this is not out of the Bible.
Right.
And so it's not an absolute. You can decide to do whatever you want to do. If you want to do 17%, do it. I wouldn't recommend it. This comes from real experience. We didn't just make these numbers up. This wasn't in a think tank somewhere that some stupid broke college professor came up with, and got tenure and no money. You don't want people with no money teaching you about money.
Here's the magic of it is, obviously, most everyone has picked up on your percentage that you've devised, because it does allow people to continue to take care of life, but at the same time get compound growth started in your favor.
And the same thing when we talk about buying a car. You don't have cars that are more than half your annual income. If you pay cash because you have too much invested in going down in value.
Right.
And the same thing we talk about no more than a fourth of your take-home pay on a 15-year fixed on your mortgage. You don't want to be in debt long-term, so no more than 15 years. And if you have more than 25% of your take-home pay going into your mortgage, you're going to have trouble saving to buy and pay cash for the next car. You're going to have trouble paying cash for your vacations. You're going to have trouble doing your 15% into your retirement and kids' college and been paying the house off even earlier.
Right.
So you become house poor. You can become investment poor.
Yes, you can.
Cash-wise. And you can become house poor cash-wise. You can become car poor cash-wise. And these are the things that kick people in the kneecap while they're trying to get ahead.
Right. Well, and I remember when I first started working the plan, and I was like, $1,000, that's not enough.
What's not
that's
enough?
Not enough. And then I realized, I was like, wait a minute. No. This is going to break the habit of me thinking that debt's an option. And it's going to give me a little bit of cushion.
Yeah.
You know? And it was one of those things where you go, because if you won't do that one, if you won't do the 1,000, there ain't no way in the world you're going to do baby step 2.
You're not going to submit yourself to a plan. You're not going to submit yourself to a plan.
That's
right.
right.
You know what was happening, Chris, and this is in the early days of Financial Peace University, before there was baby steps. I mean, I was teaching this stuff, and I'm teaching it in class, and we're sitting in having the small groups. And what would happen is that somebody would have that was really earnest. They really had an I've had it moment. They really were ready to change. They really wanted to get out of debt, and they're really game on. And they're charging the gates of hell with a water pistol. Here we go, baby. Let's get going. Game on. Let's bust this thing. Braveheart this thing, right? Let's go. And they go down there about 3 months. And they're busting into this thing, and their emotional energy is starting to run a little bit low, but they are making progress. And then that alternator would go out, or that tires, brakes would go out on the car, or something. A kid would get sick, some little thing, and it really didn't ruin their plan. The fact that they pulled out an old credit card and went and bought tires, but it ruined the psychology for them because they felt dirty. They felt like a drunk that had gone and got somebody that was an alcoholic that had been dry for 90 days and then went and got drunk.
Right.
They felt dirty. And so they'd quit. So the $1,000 isn't about you and about never using a credit card again. It's about the feeling that you went back to the old ways. The Proverbs talks about a dog returning to its vomit. And it's how it feels. You wake up and you go, man. And you just feel like a dog. You feel awful because you failed, and you really didn't.
Right.
It's $200 on a credit card.
Right.
Guy's got $42,000 on his credit cards.
Right. But
the $200 didn't really keep him from winning.
That's right.
But the fact that he fell off the wagon did, and the $1,000. That's all the $1,000 is for. It has nothing to do with the actual math.
Right. Right.
It's to keep you from feeling like you're not working the plan right.
Gotcha.
Like you failed. And that's what's worked.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important. And so, you see these stupid butt people posting stuff about us on the internet, and man, there's everything in the world out there. People just make up stuff. I mean, Tom Cruise had sex with an alien, I'm sure. And we interviewed the alien, they just make up crap. And so, but they, Dave Ramsey doesn't understand. He's out of touch with the times. $1,000. Well, $1,000 wasn't enough when we started either, Duber.
Right.
It was never enough. It was never intended to be enough. And some financial planner, Dave Ramsey thinks $1,000 is an emergency fund. No, he doesn't, you moron.
That's right.
I tell you what I think an emergency fund is. It's 3 to 6 months of expenses. The same thing that's been taught in the financial planning community for 50 freaking years.
Right.
It's the same exact thing. The rainy day fund, grandma's rainy day fund, the GOK fund, the God only knows fund. It's always been the same. I didn't make any of this up. The only thing about the $1,000 is to keep your emotions intact and you don't feel dirty like you didn't work the plan when some little dinky butt little emergency comes along. Now, you have a $10,000 emergency, you got another issue.
That's right.
While you're in baby step 1 or 2.
Right. Yeah, you do.
You got a different thing going on then. But most people don't have a $10,000 emergency, but about once every 10 years.
Yeah.
78% of Americans will face a $10,000 emergency fund once a decade. Now, the trick is, are you going to be ready when that comes?
When it happens.
And you will be if you work these baby steps in order.
That's right.
But during the time you're in baby step 2, the number of times that big emergency comes along at exactly the wrong time It's fairly
rare.
That doesn't happen often.
Well,
it's more about worrying about the unknown.
Yeah, that's so good to hear the rationale behind that. I'm glad we talked about that. That's good. And listen, if you're out there and you fell off the wagon, get back up on that thing. This is 2021. You still got time.
You just gotten started. Let's do it. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices. And they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings. Chris Hogan, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Tyler and Shauna are with us in Boston, Mass. See, it says on my screen, you guys are debt-free. Congratulations.
We are. Thank you.
Way to go. How much did you pay off?
We have paid off $343,993 in 36 months.
Woohoo! Wow. And your range of income during that time?
So we started around $150,000, and then when we finally paid everything off, we were up to $240,000.
Wow. What do you guys do for a living?
I'm a nurse, but I'm currently staying home with our 3 kids. And
I'm in sales.
Sounds like it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys were taking care of business. So tell me, what stuff did you pay off?
So we had quite a bit of student loan debt, about $245,000. Yeah, our cars, credit cards, and then a 401k loan.
Okay, so you did over $100,000 average a year for 3 years. You've been on beans and rice, or you sold some stuff, or you had some savings you threw at this.
We definitely sold some stuff. I'll let Tyler tell you about that.
Yeah, we sold a couple things. We actually lived in a 3-family and rented out the other 2 units as part of this, and did a condo conversion and sold them all individually. So that put a good amount of money in the bank. And you might see pictures of our cars on the screen. One of them is a very excited picture of us leasing a new car. We paid all those off and then decided we wanted to $1,000 in the bank.
Wait a minute, you cut out. You said you paid one of them off, and last I heard you were leasing a car, so I'm confused.
Well, we paid off a lease car. So we had 2 cars that we financed. One was leased, and we paid them both off and just decided we didn't need that much car. So we traded down to a smaller car and put $16,000 towards our debt.
Oh, wow.
I actually totaled that car 3 months later, and you hear people call in and use it as an excuse to buy more car. We actually traded down.
Traded down again. Are you guys there?
Yes, we went down again.
Okay, you're breaking up pretty bad. Okay, good. Congratulations. So what's the key to getting out of debt? You did an incredible job.
Yeah, I think the key to getting out of debt is really having a big why. For us, we accepted Jesus Christ as our Lord and Savior as we started this process and decided we had to tithe, and we just realized we were managing our money poorly and needed to change something. So I think that was one of the big reasons that we decided we needed to make a change and to just show our kids that you could do things differently, that living debt-free was normal.
Yeah, absolutely. Shanna, what was the biggest sacrifice for you?
I would say just, I guess, learning to say, no all around, whether it be going out shopping or going out to eat. Just learning that word no. That wasn't a word really in our vocabulary, and we quickly had to learn what it meant.
Yeah. So what you said you guys accepted the Lord right about the time you started all this. Tell us the story. What happened here?
Yeah, about 3 months probably before we started our debt-free journey, we both found the Lord and accepted him and decided we had to tithe. And we just looked at our budget and realized we were going to be living on 90% less than we had been before. The numbers didn't work, and we weren't sure how we were going to do that. But we just made the commitment to do it anyway. And, the Lord's really blessed our 90% more than our 100% ever worked for us in the past.
Yeah, and so a couple months later, you found Financial Peace University, did you say?
Yeah, somebody at our church was promoting it on the stage. Peter and Alicia Martino. We actually couldn't take it at the time, and we kind of did Dave-ish for probably 16 months before we finally did FPU on our own online. We're actually going to be leading our first FPU course in a few weeks, so we're pretty excited about that.
Wow, thank you.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
Cool. Good for you guys.
We're excited to just share what we've learned and just, the excitement that we felt and the freedom that we've found. I mean, we want everybody to experience that. So.
Well, I'm going to tell you, you guys calling in and sharing your story, you have no idea how you're motivating other people to start to believe that they can too. And so I'm proud of you guys, and I'm very honored that you're going to go back and pay it forward, leading a class and helping other people find their way as well. So job well done.
Amen. Well done, you guys. So this was a pretty intense 3 years.
Yeah, it actually went by faster than it felt it was going at times.
When you got done, was it worth it?
Absolutely.
Will you ever go back in debt?
Yeah. No way.
No way.
Not a chance. Nope.
Yeah, you live like no one else, so later you can live and give like no one else. I mean, you make $240,000 a year. You don't have any payments but a house payment.
Yeah.
That's pretty rowdy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You can go do some stuff.
Yeah. Well done, you guys.
That's why we did it.
Hey. We got a copy of Chris's book, Everyday Millionaires, for you guys, because you're going to be one soon. That's the next chapter in your story. Keep working, keep being intentional. You can slow down on the intensity a little bit, but now the intentionality kicks in. Yeah. So well done, you two. We're proud of you. Thank you for leading Financial Peace University and Ramsey Plus. We appreciate that. Tyler and Shauna in Boston, Mass., $344,000 paid off in 36 months, making $150 to $240. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1. We're debt-free!
So good.
Is a lot of money.
A whole lot. I mean, Dave, that's $245,000 in student loan.
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
That's a whole lot.
Folks, what if you didn't have any payments? What if you didn't have a credit card or medical bills or student loans or no car payments? After 2020, most of America feels the same way you do right now, stressed, out of control. But 2021 can be your year. Time for you to take control. The best way to do that is the Ramsey Plus Money Reset. It's our challenge for anyone who starts Ramsey Plus this year. How much progress can you make on your money if you go all in for 90 days? All in to paying off your debt as fast as you can, and then finally saving for emergencies as fast as you can. With Ramsey Plus, we're going to show you every day what to do, every week what to do, the small wins with your money, and even some really big ones, and then we're going to help you turn those wins into lifelong habits. It is never too late to get a great start. This year, decide to reset your money. Go all in for 90 days. Take control. You can do a free trial at Ramsey Plus if you want to. It includes Financial Peace University. It includes the Every Dollar Premium app. It includes all kinds of tools and other courses and classes. It's everything you need to know about money in one place. DaveRamsey.com/reset. Do the free trial. DaveRamsey.com/reset.
Yeah, no, that's important, Dave. And I've been listening. I've been watching people. I've been doing a little cardio and doing some stuff, getting myself in better shape. But I was reading on it. It was talking about you need a system. You need a system and a process to be able to follow in order to get healthier and do all the things. And I thought that's exactly what Ramsey Plus is. It's the system. It's the thing you plug into and do the things that are there.
Well, one of the best phrases I've ever heard was Craig Rochelle the other night when we did Reset last Tuesday night, and it was a week ago today in Oklahoma City. That went fast. And, he said, quit trying, start training.
Yeah. Yeah.
Training is, you're going to make mistakes when you're training, and it's never perfect. It's never a straight line from where you are to being wherever you want to be. But when you're in training, you don't eat that. When you're in training, you don't buy that.
That's right. You
when
don't
you're
do
in
that.
Training, I can't do that. I'm in training.
That's right.
I can't do that. I'm in training. And all you just keep saying that to yourself. That's a really powerful little phrase right there.
It really is.
I'm trying to get out of that. Nope. I'm in training. I can't buy that.
Can't do that.
Amazon Prime?
Nope.
Nope.
I can't click that.
Nope.
That big old pop-up ad that comes looking at you.
We need to get like a nope button.
We do. You and I both pop up.
When you push it, it's
nope.
When it's Chris's voice, nope.
That's what we're going to tell people.
This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Chris Hogan, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Caesar is with us in Fort Myers, Florida. Hey, Caesar, how are you?
I'm doing great, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Oh, thank you so much for the call. What an honor, really, for
you too.
For me to talk to you guys. So I sold my house. I used to live in Connecticut, moved to Florida about a month and a half ago. I sold a house in Connecticut for $225,000, and I owe $210,000 here in Fort Myers in my second home. Not sure if I should just invest the $225 or pay off my home right now, my house.
How much do you owe $210 on the current house?
Correct.
And
it's
so you just took
$335.
Okay, so you took out a mortgage on it, and the money from the home sale in Connecticut was just sitting in the bank?
It's sitting in the bank right now.
He had the mortgage earlier.
Okay.
But now you can pay it off.
I could.
Yeah,
yes.
good.
Whoa. Caesar.
Should I just go ahead and...
Yeah, what are you hesitating about, bud? What's wrong?
Because I retired about probably back in April, 8 months ago.
Yes, sir.
I'm 48 years old. I have an $80,000 pension coming in.
Okay.
And I have about $410,000 on a 457.
There you go.
Right now.
Right.
And I could continue making mortgage payments on my with my retirement.
You could.
But
So let's try it this way, Caesar. Let's pretend for a second that you did not have any of this $200,000 left, and you had a paid-for house that you're living in there in Fort Myers. In other words, you paid off the house, okay? Let's pretend you're sitting there in a paid-for house with that money in the 457 and the $80,000 pension, and you're sitting there in a home in Fort Myers, and that home is worth what?
$335 right now.
Okay. If you were sitting there in a paid-for house with your 457 and with your pension and no other monies other than what, not counting the money from Connecticut, right? Would you go get a new mortgage on the Fort Myers house in order to invest?
No.
Same thing.
Thank you.
Now, let me tell you what that little trick does, okay?
Yeah.
Here's what's going on. When someone asks, including me, because I'm a math nerd, should I pay off my home because mortgage rates are low and I can make more by investing it into a mutual fund, you are using your brain to do math, and you're considering, with good critical thinking skills, does the math work to do this, right? Now, when I reverse and I do that little trick, which is it's called a sunk cost analysis. In other words, do we reverse engineering something is all we're doing.
Right.
When I do that, it causes you to think not just with your brain, but also with your heart. Because your brain didn't leap when I suggested you go get a new mortgage.
Right.
Your stomach did into your heart.
Right.
And so that's where you measure risk is in your heart. You measure, you do math in your head, and you have to use both to have a good financial plan. And too many people in the financial world only use the brain for the math, and they don't use the risk analysis of the heart.
That's good. Math is in the head, risk is in the heart. I mean, that's, you know.
You think about your physical reaction.
That's right.
When you think about going and getting a mortgage on a paid-for house, you kind of like you got the hiccups almost. Your chest got tight.
Yeah, no.
Your diaphragm, your abdomen changed. Your brain didn't move at all.
No.
It didn't even flinch.
Not at all. That's amazing.
It's
Caesar, you're gonna be feeling so different.
Yeah, pay it off.
You really are, buddy. You're gonna feel so different.
You've done a great job, and thank you for being a listener.
48 years old and retired. Yes, he's done it the right way.
Open phones at 888-825-5225. Mike is in Boise, Idaho. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Hey, guys, how you doing today?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Well, thank you for taking my call. I'm hoping you guys can help maybe settle a discussion my wife and I are having on the last item in our snowball. I bought a 2014 Ford Raptor Shelby about 6 months ago.
Sweet.
And to fix up and actually flip. That was the intent. We got a pretty good deal on it.
But then he fell in love.
Well, okay, so my wife actually fell in love.
With the Raptor?
This is funny. With the Raptor.
No way.
I love it.
I
love this woman.
She's got a little bit of anxiety while driving, and for whatever reason, when we get in this truck and drive on the freeway and visit
like
her
a
relatives,
freaking tank. Of course she doesn't have anxiety driving.
Right.
I drive one every day. I love my Raptor.
She's safe.
So she loves it. So where we're at right now is we've paid everything off with that.
And what do you owe on it?
What's that?
What do you owe on it?
Oh, about 30,000. Like,
what's your household income?
$175.
Okay, and then what's your question?
So my question is, we're deciding on whether or not to sell it right now.
Yeah.
I purchased it with the idea to flip it. It's worth about 45 to 50, depending on the buyer right now, because it's kind of that special supercharged package.
Yep.
The whole thing.
Yep.
My concern with selling is we haven't got very far in retirement. I'm 43. And we were thinking, hey, if we sell this, we're done. We'll put a little cash in our pocket. But, we enjoy driving it so much. It makes the traveling so nice.
Yeah.
She's kind of on the fence where she'd like to keep it and figure out how to...
What's your other car worth?
Let's see. She's got a 2014 Escape, and it's like maybe $15,000.
And that's the only other... You only have two cars?
No. Sorry. So when I talked to the gal, so I've got a couple other specialty vehicles, and that's one of the reasons that I'm kind of leaning towards selling. I've got a couple early Broncos as well that I've had for years.
Oh, man. You have good taste.
And so I fixed them up, restored them, and they're in the garage. So
how much are they worth?
And I drive.
Mike, how much are the Broncos?
Yeah, they're worth $100,000.
Yeah, so the one I have is an all-original, uncut one. It's probably worth in the $60,000 neighborhood, and then the one that's more of a toy is probably worth mid-40s, I would say.
Okay.
You got a lot tied up in cars. Now, those two cars there, I'm going to pull them to the side because they're probably not going down in value. They're specialty vehicles. They're collectibles. But 90% of the time, 98% of the time, you buy something with wheels or motors, it's going down in value. And you just don't want to have too much tied up in toys. You guys got a lot in toys.
We do, and that's kind of where we're both trying to have the discussion.
How emotionally tied are you to the Broncos?
Say that one more time, please.
How emotionally tied are you to the Broncos?
One of them I'm pretty emotionally tied to just because of what it is. I mean, the other one, I'm emotionally tied to them. They're so rare, I can never replace them.
No, that's true. That's true.
I love how honest you are, Mike. I like how you tried.
I mean, so it might be, I was just thinking, because I'm a car guy, and I'm into all these cars you're talking about. I love every one of them. You got some sweet stuff there. You got good taste. I'm probably dropping a Bronco and keeping the Raptor, but that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. And I don't care what you do. I'm a little bit afraid with all four of them, you got an awful lot tied up in rolling stock with $170,000 income.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to get the 30 paid off, and you're going to retire a millionaire. I'm not worried about that. I just want you got to stop buying cars. I know that.
Yeah.
Well,
especially ones you keep.
That's right. Because Mike, you're only a few months away from finding another one. I'm with you, Dave. Pick a Bronco, sacrifice it, pay off the Raptor.
Put Mama in that Raptor.
What, you think he's going to drive the Escape? No chance. There's
Wait a minute.
No chance.
Wait a minute. Sell the Escape. That's what I'm
that's
selling.
True. Yeah, get rid of that thing and then drop
it's the only thing on this list that
we don't
keep.
care about. Yeah, get rid of that thing. Sorry, Escape.
This is a boy discussion right here. I'm just saying. Oh, I don't know, man. That's a hard one.
That is tough.
Just you don't want too much tied up in rolling stock. Get rid of the debt if you're going to keep it for sure. You don't want to keep the debt around. And I don't blame you for having this discussion.
No, this is a good one. This is a good one.
This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show. You can be intentional about your character. You can have money and a career. You are the hero in your story. Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studios, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. You jump in, we'll talk about your life and your money. It's a free call at 888-825-5225. Chris Hogan, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, is my co-host. You jump in, we'll talk to you about your life and your money as promised. Crystal's with us in Philadelphia. Hi, Crystal. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Thank you for taking my question.
Sure. What's up?
I am calling because I recently inherited an annuity, and I am not sure if I should just go ahead and pay off my home or if I should go ahead and roll it over and invest it.
How much is it?
It is $139,000.
What do you owe on your home?
I owe $119,000.
And have you gotten a tax person to look at it and see how much you'll be taxed when you cash this out?
I actually just contacted one of your recommendations, and I was supposed to talk to them today, but they had to reschedule the time for tomorrow. I also had spoken to 3 of your Smart Investor Pros, which I all liked. So I haven't picked one yet, just to see.
Good. I'm glad it's hard to choose. So you were named beneficiary on the annuity?
Yes, it was divided 3 ways between me and my brothers.
Crystal, who left this to you?
My father.
Your father.
I think with you being named a beneficiary, it's probably going to be more like life insurance than it is going to be like an inherited IRA. I don't think you're going to have taxes on it, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I think I think because you're named the beneficiary on it, I think it's just going to come straight to you. I'm not very good at taxes, though. So the tax people are all out there listening right now going, oh, God! But anyway, so for sure, check me out. Say, I promise. Okay, so I'm paying off my house unless I've got a 40% tax on this thing. If it's got a big tax on it of some kind and you can roll it to something, which I don't think you can do. I know you can't roll it into an IRA. You could roll it into a variable annuity. I'm going to say 9 times out of 10, and unless you get just some ridiculously horrible information about the taxes, I am going to take it out, even if I got a little bit of tax, and pay off the house, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Crystal, how much is your mortgage payment right now?
Mortgage and taxes is roughly $1,350.
Can you imagine what kind of blessing it is for your father to have left that to you, to pay off your home? Like, you get the deed, you own it, and now you have $1,350 extra in your budget.
I just had a happy feeling in my heart because this has been a rough thing because my dad was handicapped 22 years ago, and I took care of him for 15 years. My brother just took care of him for the last 7. We had a family member that was his power of attorney.
Yes, ma'am.
And never invested his annuity. And so realizing the amount of money that it could have been,
right.
What I was actually expecting was a little shocking. About 7 years ago when that person passed away and he went to live with another family member, my brother, who was his power of attorney, and he didn't invest the money either. So this money grew for 22 years at 1% interest. So that hurts a bit.
Yeah. But now we're still here. And the good news is your home's going to be paid off.
That's right. And when you get ready to leave something to someone, that home will have appreciated, and it'll make a difference. So at any rate, this is one of those things. Let that go. Just realize your father thought of you and was intentional enough to leave something to you.
That's pretty cool.
And you get a chance to continue writing the story together.
Ben is with us in Knoxville. Hey, Ben, welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi, I appreciate y'all taking my call.
Sure. How can we help?
So I am engaged, and I'll be getting married here in April.
Yay!
And, thank you. We're both very excited, and fortunately, we're both going into the marriage on baby step 6, and our combined income will be about $200,000. And I was wondering how you would suggest kind of managing our individual wants within our marriage. For example, I'm a big gun guy, and so that's my hobby, and my fiance likes, clothes and furniture and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, the good news is you don't have any debt except your house, and you've got a lot of money to buy guns and clothes. So, I mean, you call me up with this problem with $300,000 in student loan debt, because I would have said no more guns and, very few clothes.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the good news is you can sit down together, and I will just tell you, every gun I buy costs me at least 2 purses. So we have a formula at the Ramsey house, and I'm with you. I got a lot of guns, and you know what that means? She's got a lot of purses. So you're just going to do some of that right there. And all kidding aside, and I think you just talk about it, and it would not be fair for you to spend 3 times more than she's spending on those things, but both of you have some fun money category room in this budget you described.
Yeah, and Ben, is this a first marriage for both of you?
Yes.
Okay, That's fantastic, man. I'm going to tell you this. Have you all done the pre-marriage counseling?
We're starting that next month.
Okay, that's imperative. And really dig into that. Get on the same page, because financially it sounds like you guys are in sync. Yeah. Now it's a matter of, as I tell people all the time, you got to speak French, right? It's not you, her, and you, it's we. And so that mindset of the muscles you all have already been flexing, learning to communicate and flex those together.
Your biggest problem is that you're both used to having your own life. And you're now going to combine lives, and that's going to require that's going to be a little bit stressful in that regard.
Feelings.
So, yeah.
Don't hear about feelings.
What we're going to do is we're going to put you into Ramsey Plus, and that hooks you up with the every dollar budget and puts you guys through Financial Peace University as part of your pre-marriage counseling. We're going to give you a wedding gift.
Yes.
So you hold on, and we'll give you a year in Ramsey Plus, and Kelly will pick up and do that. Now, what you'll do is jump on that every dollar budget and lay out a pretend budget as if you were married.
That's good.
And then it'll give you something to talk about in the pre-marriage counseling. You're going to go ahead and have some budget fights right now.
Yeah.
So,
but
you're going to spend what?
Yeah. But again, the communication on it, being able to lay it out, looking at the ratios.
You do have a common goal, baby step 6, of paying the house off too.
That's right.
So there's only 3 things you can do with money. You can spend it to enjoy it.
Yep.
You can give it, and you can invest it.
Yep.
And you need to be on the same page on how much is going to what. And there should be plenty of room to do all 3 of those things with what you have described here. You guys are making a lot of money. You're doing really well. Congratulations.
Seriously.
That's going to be good. But you all have a streak of independence because you've lived as grown-ups with a lot of money before. Now you're going to have to combine that, and that's going to be emotionally. There's going to be some friction with that. It goes with the territory.
Yeah,
so just put it all out on the table, work the friction. It's going to be great for your communication in your new marriage. This is awesome.
Put the Lord first and in the center, and now the other stuff will work out just fine.
This is the Dave Ramsey Show.
We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs. We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org.
We absolutely believe in it.
Chris Hogan, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. If you feel like you've never saved enough money or pay off all your debt after a year like 2020, most of America feels the same way. We're all hitting reset. Ramsey Plus is our step-by-step plan. Helps you get some really quick wins. We're going to give you a 90-day plan, day by day, week by week, step by step. Everything's in there. And Ramsey Plus, of course, includes Financial Peace University. And you can do a free trial and see if you want to do the whole year. The 90-day plan will get you it's never too late to get a great start.
That's right.
Get a fast start, get a great start, come out of it. When you come out of the gate fast, boom, here we go. All right, Ramsey Plus, you try it for free. Do the free trial and see if it works for you. You're going to be blown away. DaveRamsey.com/reset. DaveRamsey.com.
All you have to lose is some debt.
Crystal's in Anchorage. Hey, Crystal, how are you?
Hi, good. Thanks so much for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Currently, my husband and I have no debt except for a little bit of a car payment and our mortgage. We've got a steady income, but we kind of struggle just getting by check to check and wondering what is the best way to kind of get out of that rut.
What's your income?
About $72,000 a year.
Okay. How much your house payment?
$1,700.
How much your car payment?
I do about $300 a month on it.
You would do. What's your car payment? You have a payment amount.
Yeah, I do about $300 a month on it. I go a little bit extra.
Okay, but your car payment is actually, if you don't do, what's the actual payment?
About $210.
Okay, that's what I'm asking. All right, good.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so that's okay because the extra is a choice. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad choice because we're going to get your car paid off. That's going to be something we're going to do here in a minute. But we're going to put a lot more than $300 on it. But anyway, all right, so you're not giving me any numbers here that are causing my brain to explode like you've got major problems, which means that you're probably like most people, including me, when I first started this, in that by not having really good organization with my money and every detail laid out, the chaos eats these dollars for breakfast. And so a written budget, a detailed budget, will make you feel like you've gotten a raise. Because I'll give you an example. How often you guys get paid? Twice a month?
Yeah.
Okay, so a take-home pay check is how much?
$3,000.
Okay, so we got $6,000 minus house payment minus car payment is that's $2,000.
Yeah.
So I got $4,000 left.
Mm-hmm.
That feels kind of weird, doesn't it?
It does,
like right this second, you're asking yourself, I know I got water, and I know I got to buy some, and I know I've got electricity, and I know I've got food, and I know I got some insurance I got to buy here and there. But you're starting to ask yourself, where the flip's this money going? And that's kind of what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So, you got to get on a game plan, and when you get on a budget, you are going to feel like you got a raise.
And Crystal, I'm going to tell you, as I started off on Dave's plan almost 16 years ago, that is exactly what was the thing that was the awakening for me. I was doing too much stupid in grocery stores and in restaurants. And so getting down to the root of it, you taking a look, get some bank statements out. Go back and look at the last 3 months and find out that category where you're bleeding money. And it could be online shopping. It could be grocery stores. It could be eating out. Whatever it is, you're going to do an analysis. You're going to see it.
But you cannot manage money with a rearview mirror.
Right.
You can't wait till it's over and then go, wow, that didn't work.
No.
You have to tell it what to do before it leaves, on paper, on purpose, before the month begins, every single month, and in agreement with your spouse so they don't do something else.
That's exactly right. And I was just going to say, with that, when you find that trouble spot, go to the cash envelopes on it. I'm telling you, having the budget like Dave's talking about beforehand and then having the cash, I'm telling you, it's going to give you more control. And like Dave said, it's going to feel like you gave yourself a raise because guess what? You did.
Yeah. Jump on Every Dollar and start using it's free to use. Just everydollar.com, download the app and start using that budgeting app with you and your husband. And you got to start working on that tonight. You're going to feel like you got a raise. There's a reason you're losing, there's just no intentionality behind the dollars, and no one does. By the way, you're not like horrible.
I got a great question.
Nobody does this.
All right, you have sat down with people for many, many years. What is the area of the budget that people are absolutely lying about? What is it, the one where you go, this isn't real?
Eating out,
yeah, I would agree. I'd say eating out at the grocery store, because with the stores we have now,
they
Dave,
think they spend less at the grocery store. Yeah. They know they spend a lot at restaurants, but when they find out what they really spend, they go, oh my God!
Yep.
Like I remember I was sitting in a financial peace group, leading small group one time years and years ago, and we're kind of going around talking about the lesson that night, and we're like, okay, why have you not been able to fund retirement? Where it was an investment lesson. And one of the questions we're just talking about, why didn't you feel like you'd been able to do retirement? And there's an old country boy sitting in the thing, and he goes, yeah, we looked at it. We're spending $1,200 a month in restaurants. I know where our retirement's been going. We've been eating it. I about died laughing. But it's exactly the truth. I've been eating it. That's it. I'm telling you, that's what a lot of people do with it. They eat their future.
Yeah, and that's scary. And you know what? That's something we can control, because what couldn't we do?
Let me just tell you, I love restaurants. Yeah. I've got good friends. You and I have good friends, personal friends that we share. They're world-class chefs that own restaurants. We go to their place.
Yep.
I love that kind of stuff. I'm not against restaurants. But from a budgeting standpoint, when you're calling me and saying I'm broke, I have no money, I will tell you that 90% of what you spend in the restaurant, the money is spent on entertainment. 10% is your actual food cost.
Yeah.
So go home and make some white beans and cornbread.
Well, and I'm going to tell you this, even throughout all this situation with the pandemic, of people being at home more, utilizing that stove.
They found out what they were spending.
They really did, because people were like, we've got a lot more money.
Where have I got all this money? Where'd this money come from?
That's right.
And it's all it was. You're not going out all the time.
All the time. So be intentional, be smart, and again, starting to set some things, cut it back a little bit.
So, Crystal, you're not different in that regard. I don't know if it's food that you're spending it on, but you will discover it when you go back and look at the statements like Chris suggested, and when you start writing it down and try to make it behave. Hint for everyone is starting their new budget this month. Whatever you think you're spending at the grocery store, you're wrong. It's more than that.
I agree.
And so if you think you're spending $500, you better put $750 in there because you're going to find that it's more. You've been lying to yourself so long that, I really do that. I've had these people tell me these ridiculous numbers. We make it on $50 a month. No, you don't. You can't even. No, that's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, but because here's the thing. That is a category that if you underfund it, you will go back and either break your budget or you'll have to go back and correct your budget in the middle of the month as you're learning how to budget your first couple of months. If you'll go ahead and overfund it, you don't feel like you failed. You can always cut your food budget back in future months.
That's a good call.
For the first 2 to 3 months you're doing your budget, when you've never done one in years, overfund your grocery store budget. Because you're always, everyone spends more than they think they do.
So
and
true.
You people that are super nerds and you do the coupons and you've got all these apps on your phone and all this stuff, you still spend more than you think you have. Because there's something about denial at the grocery store that we're in denial about what we spent.
No, that's a good point. And at the Reset event, if you hadn't watched that, you need to go check it out. I gave 3 tips, which is make a grocery list, only buy what's on the list, and stick to the dollar amount you said you were going to spend.
I'll give you a 4th one. Don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry.
Truth. Big truth.
As if I have ever done any of this, but there you go.
Those burritos I bought from Sam's weren't that good when I got them home.
Well, you bought 270
Yeah,
of them.
I know. I was hungry, Dave. I was real hungry.
This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Folks, it's an honor to tell you about the Army National Guard. Not only are they big supporters of our high school curriculum, but they also give you the opportunity to impact your local communities. Whether your goals are to get an education, serve your country, or have a better life, the Army National Guard can help get you there. Plus, they offer unbelievable financial benefits. Secure your future today. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more. Chris Hogan, Ramsey personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Elizabeth is in Tyler, Texas. Hi, Elizabeth. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
I have been asked to take over doing being the treasurer for my Property Owners Association. And are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. So anyway, so I've been asked to do that, and I am curious about personal liability, if I should be concerned in any way in regards to that.
You would need to ask an attorney. I'm not one. I do own many, many, many pieces of real estate in HOAs, and most of them are a hot mess.
Yeah.
And so there's always conflict and drama and gossip and stupidity and everything else. You would, as I understand the law, and again, I'm not a lawyer, so you're it's a legal advice question that you're really asking, but as I understand the law, you would not have any liability unless there was misbehavior. Now, obviously, if you bought yourself a new grill for your backyard out of that money, then you would obviously be liable for the misbehavior. Or if there was gross negligence, you did a horrible job beyond the pale of what any kindergartner could do, then you might be held liable. Most of the HOAs carry errors and omissions insurance for their board of directors, and so if a resident files suit against them for mismanagement or negligence or fraud or whatever else, the E&O will step up, the insurance company will step up and defend them legally. So most of the time you're covered, and even if you're not, you might have to be out some legal fees, but you would not be held to, if somebody didn't like the color of paint that was chosen for the front fence,
right,
which will happen.
Yes.
Then you're not liable for that.
Yeah, Elizabeth, Dave's not allowed to be on any kind of committee like that. People would end up crying. Okay, I'm just going to tell you. But I think, do you have a lot of time? Do you want to do this, or do people just want you to do it?
Well, it's an interesting situation. I live in a neighborhood where I have an HOA and a POA. And the Property Owners Association, the POA, is just for my street.
Okay.
Because there's certain expenses that we are responsible for just on our street.
Yes, ma'am.
And so this is for the POA.
Okay.
And so I'm not so sure that we have errors and omissions on that because it's such a small thing.
Yeah, well, it would have to be the people on your street or the HOA that you pay money to the POA. Someone would have to get pissed off and sue you.
Yeah.
From a practical standpoint, before you would have any liability. So as long as everything's fairly low drama, you probably don't have any issue, but I can't make that promise in an HOA. As you can tell, I can't stand the things. And no reflection on you, Miss Elizabeth.
No.
You sound like a sweet person.
She's a sweetheart. You can tell.
But too many of the people involved in them really don't have a life. Yeah. And so...
What'd you tell me, Dave? What's the percent of people that need to be incarcerated? Is it 2% or has it grown?
No, not incarcerated. Institutionalized.
Institutionalized. Same thing.
Yeah, well, sort of.
Ish.
Yeah, and it's a higher percentage in HOAs.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just not a fan. Okay.
Just let that, Here we go.
Kelly's in Atlanta. Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Thank you for taking my call. It's such a blessing. I have a question about so I'm a stay-at-home mom and I'm married. My husband makes about $60K a year as an essential worker. His career has the potential to grow his salary to about $70K within the next 5 years. We have 2 children under 3, and I currently have an AS in an essential field with the potential to get a BS in engineering after we complete our baby step number 3. That would be no longer than 2 years from now. We are currently paying off our house, and that's the only debt that we have, which is about $155K left to pay off. He's mid-20s, I'm early 30s, and we're wondering out of these 3 options, which might be more advantageous for us, financially speaking. The first option would be if I go back to school and I get a BS in engineering in less than 5 years to jumpstart a career with a higher salary while maintaining our lifestyle at only $60 to $70K a year with extra towards other baby steps. The next option would be, should we maintain his salary and career and the lifestyle that we have now? Or the third option would be, would it be better to go back to work part-time and try adding on to his salary? The reason for us changing head of household would be because we feel like one parent should be at home with the kids. But, there's always the possibility of us just, adding on to his salary, and we could both be at home at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's 2 or 3 things going on. It's not just math. If it's just math, the answer is, how do you make the most money?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
And then you've got to say, okay, but what's the trade-off on the way that makes the most money? What what do you want to be doing career-wise, as well as wealth building wise, as well as parenting, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and which of these decisions takes you to that person. And so, we call it around here when we're setting business goals, when we're doing strategic analysis in the business, we say, what's the desired future?
Yeah.
Where do you want to be in 10 years? And then what must be true that's not true today for us to arrive at that desired future? And in your case, could it be a degree? Could it be a change out in your husband who's at home, who's not? Could it be a different way to do engineering? Could it be, I don't know. I mean, what has to be true for you to hit your parenting goals, your career goals, and your relationship and wealth building, your wealth building goals, the closest, and those things need to be all three laid out there at the end, and then you start backing out of it and reverse engineer it and say, okay, what must be true that's not true now? And you're kind of saying that because you're saying, I got to go back and get a degree if I'm going to go this way. I need to go get the BS if I'm going to do this instead of just the associates, right? And what must be true if we want a parent at home? Well, he might quit if you go make more money and come home and be stay-at-home dad. What must be true? These are things that must be true with the different options. But then if you do those things, are you going to look back and say, the trade-offs, because there always is.
Yes, there is.
Were the right ones.
Yes. Yeah, no, you're right. And Kelly, you all deciding and talking about that so you can put the priorities, and your husband may have a different level of priorities. But what I want you all to do is to have the time to communicate and then listen with your heart. It's so easy to listen with your ears and your head, but when you listen with the heart, what you're doing is you're really hearing and feeling and understanding the person. And if your husband can feel that you're doing that for him and he's doing that for you, you all will look through the lens for these kids and say, hey, what's the route? What do we do? And I agree with you. It's always give and take. We want the take, but we got to do the give.
Well, I think too, I mean, I'll give you an example. I had a young lady the other day that was telling us that she had always wanted to be a nurse. And so Ken Coleman in his show suggested she go and shadow nursing for a couple days. And she went to the hospital and worked, beside a nurse, and went, ooh, I don't want to do this. But nursing is a good career.
Right.
And it's good money.
It is.
And you can always get work. And that was what was appealing. But then the actual doing of the job.
She didn't like it.
Yeah. Do you want to do engineering 40 hours a week 10 years from today with your BS? Is that what you want to do? Nothing wrong with that.
But you need to be sure.
That's a lot of stuff given up to get there.
It sure is.
You better be sure that's the ladder's leaning on the wrong building.
Ooh.
This is the Dave Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day is Proverbs 4:23. Keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it flow the springs of life. Michael Altscher says, the bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot. Oh, that's pretty good. Colby's with us in Brunswick, Georgia. Hi, Colby. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Sure. What's up?
So, I'm 18 years old. I'm a freshman in college, and I'm trying to figure out what I should do with the majority of my income. I make about $20,000 between my part-time job and side hustles. So I'm trying to figure out if I should continue investing it the way I am, or should I just leave it in a savings account for when I graduate college, and if I need the money, it's there.
What are you investing it in?
Just in the stock market. So I have about $8,000 in mutual funds and individual stocks. And then last year I put $5,000 in a Roth IRA.
Good for you. Well done. Well done. Well, Colby, the best rate of return on your money is Colby. What are you studying?
Aviation science and flight management.
Okay. So you're going to make more money as a result of having spent money on education than you will make in mutual funds, given that you are studying something that is actually usable. You're not getting a degree in medieval left-handed poetry. Okay?
Right.
So, very wise on your part. So the point is that the main use of money for you, the number one, job one for money for you, is graduate and graduate on time and graduate debt-free. So I don't care if you save for retirement. I do care if you until you graduate.
Yeah.
I do care that you graduate on time, and you pay cash, and you don't go in debt.
Absolutely.
Now, you're a working dude, and you're a saving dude, and you're way ahead of the curve. I'm so impressed with you.
Yeah, Colby, you really and truly are, buddy. Who taught you about this? Did your parents teach you, or are you self-taught?
Yeah, my parents always taught me the importance of being wise with your finances, and especially my grandfather. I'm fortunate enough to have my college paid for, so I'm not having to take out any student loans or any debt, so I'll graduate college debt-free. So
That's fantastic. So I would ask you to take it a step further. I want you to find someone that is doing a pilot, or someone private, or someone that does commercial, but really find out what's the next level for flight school. What's it going to cost? What are the areas you're thinking of? So that way you can start to save toward it as well. You are way ahead of the game, young man. I mean, way
mutual
ahead.
funds are fine. Single stocks are not. Good growth stock mutual funds, or just a savings account, knowing that you just don't need to be fancy. Just pile up cash. A big old pile of cash when you graduate means you're a genius.
Yep.
Okay.
And then you can make all kinds of choices for long-term investments, buying a home, moving to a new city, do all kinds of stuff when cash gives you options.
Yeah, and you know what, Dave? I keep getting on my show, the Chris Hogan Show, I'm getting people calling in that are 22 and 23, and they're paying cash for homes. They've got $100,000 saved for retirement. I'm like, who taught you? I've had 5 of them tell me they went through foundations. They plugged into our high school curriculum, took it as a freshman, listened to it, got out, and started doing it.
Wow.
So it is one of those things where, in that department, it is making a difference.
Maria is in Tampa. Hi, Maria. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I appreciate everything you guys have done.
Thank you.
My question is, can we afford to build a $589,000 home?
What will your payments be?
It should be, if we put 20% down, it'll be $33.19.
Okay, and is that a 15-year fixed?
No, that's a 30-year.
Okay, need to calculate it on a 15-year, and it shouldn't be more than 1/4 of your take-home pay. And so, are you making $16,000 a month take-home?
No, we're making $13,000 take home.
Okay. Yeah, you're getting ready to sign up for too much house.
Yep.
Okay.
And
We'll
Maria,
get a smaller house.
listen to me, Maria, I'm so proud of you for calling in, because the bank or the mortgage company will allow you to do that. They will allow you to sign up for that headache and heartache trip. You have to be aware, you and your husband, enough to say, and you downgrade. I'm serious, because they will allow it. And what you'll think is, well, if they said I can, it must make sense. No, it doesn't. It makes sense for them.
Yeah, 1/4 of your take-home pay on a 15-year fix. Now, take-home pay is not after 401k. Take-home pay is not after insurance. Take-home pay is just after taxes. So what do you get home with, for not counting your investments, not counting health insurance coming out, or anything else that comes out of your check except taxes? So all I'm saying about take-home pay is taxes. So if there's a bunch coming out to get to 13, and really if you add back in the 401k and you add back in the health insurance and it comes out to be 15, then we're probably getting pretty close here, because your payment's going to be on a 15-year 1/4 of your take-home pay, and you're going to be fine. So it's not an absolute, but you need to dig into it a little bit more, and the goal would be 1/4 fourth or so, give or take. But if you get up where you got 35% of your take-home pay on a 15 years, all you ever want to do, because you want to get the house paid off. That's a big part of wealth building.
That's right.
And if you get up there at 35%, you can't do other stuff that you need to do.
You get handcuffed, Dave. And I've spent time in L.A. and in New York, and I've seen people that are home poor. It means they bought so much house that they can't really live in other places. So don't necessarily seek to buy the home you want. Buy the home that you can afford, that makes sense for you and your budget.
Yeah. Sean is in Houston, Texas. Hi, Sean. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing pretty good. I'm calling because we're being sued by American Express. We were served this weekend in the papers. We owe them $85,000. We have $50,000, and I'm trying to find out, do I need to hire an attorney, or should I try to settle with them for the $50,000? Or I have talked to an attorney. They told me it would be $5,100 to hire them, and I'm just trying to find out which way to go.
Okay. That sounds a little steep to settle that. And how far behind are you?
We were paying. We last paid them in July, right after the COVID thing. We were on a payment plan.
How in the world did you get $85,000 on an Amex card?
It was a business card, and my husband decided to do a business deal and fronted all the material for a project and got stiffed.
Yep.
So here we go.
This is why we don't do it. Okay, I just wanted to learn. I wanted to learn the lesson with you there. Ouch! I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're facing this. Yeah, that's a big enough deal. I'm not going to have you settle that on your own. I would get legal representation. I don't think you found the right legal representation yet, and no, you're not bankrupt. You have enough money to settle this. Amex will do this, but they're skunks. They are not good people, and we deal with them all the time. And you can tell they're lying if their mouth's moving. So you really do need to get legal representation. I think you can settle it for $50 or less with them if you haven't paid them since July. Try this. Go to collectionbully.com. Collectionbully.com. That's a group of attorneys that we recommend for people that are being bullied by collectors.
Okay.
And I think one of them will probably pick up your case and represent you for less than that. I might be wrong. It might be that much. But,
okay. Okay.
But if you can settle 85 for 50 and it costs you $5,000, that's still a deal, right?
That's still a deal, yeah.
It is. And Sean, I'm proud of you for being proactive, because a lot of people would freeze in the moment. And I'm glad you're being proactive and acknowledging this for what it is. It is something that needs to be dealt with.
Absolutely. Open phones at 888-825-5225, and you're not bankrupt. Okay, so I'm picking on her husband. But 38% of small businesses use credit cards to finance their business ideas. And this is where you end up, on the verge of bankruptcy. Stop that crap.
Yeah.
Organically grow your business with the cash that the business creates.
Yep.
And if you don't have the money or can't get a big enough deposit to cover the project, don't take the project.
Don't do it.
That puts this hour of the Dave Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.